Hey guys, it's Evie from j&esolutions. First of all, Happy New Year's. I know a lot of you guys are working on your resolutions and a lot of you guys want to just become more financially successful. And I think the most important thing to talk about in the New Year's is your financial statement. Your financial statement is basically your financial report card. Now what this allows us to do is take a look at your income, your expenses, your assets, your liabilities, and determine how much at the end of the month, after all is said and done, after all your expenses are paid, how much you really have left at the end of the month. Now these are important for those of you who are trying to figure out if you can afford something. I know a lot of you guys have a habit of buying something and then after you purchase it and you get home and you're paying the bill every month, you realize, okay, maybe I couldn't have afforded this because now I'm taking the L on everything else. So that's going to be my goal for today, is to actually get you guys to understand the terminology that is in a financial statement, so you know where to place each thing, knowing the difference between an asset and a liability. I hope to get these simplified and make it as easy as a process for you guys to follow along. Let's get started. Filling out your financial statement should be fairly easy for those who are sticklers for watching every movement of their money. But for those who are beginners, let's go over some of the terminology. First, your income is money that you have coming in. Now, this is typically your paychecks or salary from your job, any cash flow from real estate investments, and dividends from your savings or certificates, and other income from your businesses. On the other hand, you have fixed expenses. What are fixed expenses? These are costs that do not fluctuate in change or price. This would include your rent or mortgage, your car payment, your school loan payments, credit card payments, retail debt payments, and other expenses. These are what you're spending on a recurring basis until the total debt is paid off. Now, these expenses are generated by the liabilities that you have. This would be the total amount that you are held liable for. For example, if you had a car worth $40,000 and you had a monthly payment for that car of $500, the $500 is your fixed expense, while your total liability is $40,000. Another example, if you had a home worth $300,000, and that means you own the home worth $300,000, and your monthly mortgage was a total of $1,500, your $1,500 is going to be your total expense, while your $300,000 is your total liability. Now, what if you rent? Well, that's okay. You're going to put your rent expense up here in the fixed expense area. However, your total liability is going to be zero, since you are not held liable, per se, for the price to own that property. Now, what's the difference between an asset and a liability? Assets make you money, liabilities cost you money. Now, for those of you who own rental properties, for example, these are considered assets, as long as you're not losing money for having those properties, because someone else other than yourself is paying for that debt. So when filling out this sheet, I typically start from the left to right and top to bottom. Let's go ahead and fill in some numbers. So now that we have some numbers filled in, I wanted to point out some very important aspects about your financial statement. I highlighted them here in green, red, and yellow. Let's start with your monthly cash flow. This number to the right of this monthly cash flow box is the number that determines whether or not you're in a good financial standing or a bad financial standing. If this number is 0, you have broke even. If it is a positive number, you are in good financial standing. If it is a negative number, you are in bad financial standing. Now, what can we do if we are in bad financial standing? I'm going to go ahead and change this amount in the salary here to show you a negative number. We'll make this. There you go. So, now let's say your total income is less than your total expenses. That would give you a negative monthly cash flow. How can you correct this monthly cash flow to get it up to 0 or into a positive number? Well, that's simple. Well, simply said, not simply done. What you're going to do is you want to decrease the amount of liabilities that you have. For example, pay more towards your school loan or pay more towards your car loan so that you can decrease your fixed expense. When you decrease your expense, it'll even out between your income and your expense, and you'll work towards moving this number to a 0. On the other hand, you can invest in an asset. Now let's see what an asset can do for you. Let's just say I ended up buying a property for, let's just say $150,000. And let's say I rented that property out and it gave me a cash flow of $300. Now, as you see here, I now have a cash flow of $300, which boosted my total income to $2,800, and it moved me into a positive monthly cash flow. Now, those are the key things you need to pay attention to in your financial statement. So go ahead, I provided the link below in the description box for you to access this particular income statement spreadsheet so you can plug in your own numbers and see what numbers work for you in trying to get your number here into a positive working number for you. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope this helps. Check out my next video coming up. I'm going to do what I can to make sure you guys are all off to a good financial start for the new year.